Hey, is dating getting boring? Are your dates boring? Maybe. Is it because of you? Is it because of you? Stay tuned. Here's how to make dating not feel boring, make you dread it. There's so many frustrating things about dating. The last thing you need to have is a boring date. Here are 6 tips for you to perk up your date so you're enjoying yourself. So you might be thinking that I'm talking about the location of the date or the activity on the date, that you need to make it interesting, like pottery or, painting or something out of the ordinary like that. That's not what I mean at all. And actually, if it's a first date, I'd recommend you not do that. I recommend like a drink or coffee or something so that it's got a time limit. And either one of you, if you're not comfortable and want the date to end, then you can end the date without it feeling awkward. Doing something like a pottery class or painting class, that's going to be a couple hours or 3 hours or 4 hours. And then you just don't really know in the beginning how that's going to go. And really, if your date's going to enjoy that type of activity. So, number 1, do you even want to date right now? Is that part of the problem? Because if you're really melancholy about this, or you're just not into it, not having a good time, you probably are just in the habit of dating. You're in the habit of kind of the dating experience or being on that treadmill, and every once in a while you just have to take a break. It just feels good to take a break and do something else. So first of all, you want to decide, do I even want to do this right now? And if you do and you have a date planned, go on the date. Yes, because you might end up really liking this person and then you have a great time. But after that, take yourself offline if you're dating online and just kind of do other things, do other fun things instead. Just take a break from dating because it's just gotten too much, too monotonous right now. So what hobbies have you been wanting to do and just haven't taken the time, or your kids were little, or you were off with other obligations? What have you been wanting to do? Talk about sparking up your energy and having some fun. Join a league, take a class. Volunteer, join a small group. There's so many things that you can do. Go to a meetup group. Just try different things to see what really sparks you. Because when you're sparked, your date's going to have a good time and you are going to have a good time. It builds confidence and just kind of that zest for life that we all want in a potential partner. Go do that fun stuff and then come back to dating. Here's another reason that dating might be boring is if you are not sure what type of relationship you're looking for. You are going to attract all sorts of people, and you are most likely going to attract people that are not relationship minded. So if you want a relationship, really sit down and think about, what kind of a relationship do I want? What level of commitment do I want? And then I need to seek out people online that are looking for the same thing. There's indicators on every site about what type of relationship you're looking for. If you're dating in person, you're just going to have to go based on spark, chemistry, attraction, shared interest. Like if you're in a meetup group, you both like to canoe or kayak. That's enough to start, chat and just decide if you want to go have, coffee after you guys go on your kayaking trip with the group. Okay, so really just think about it from that point of view. The second big reason you want to think about that is if you're with a woman and she asks you what type of relationship you're looking for, and you say, I don't know, I'm not sure. What that translates into the woman's primal part of her brain is, this isn't a safe environment and I'm out. Unless, of course, she doesn't know either, then you're a good pair at the moment, but it is going to most likely end in disaster because you've got 2 people feeling around in the dark, not knowing what's going on. So you do need to decide that for your own sake. Also, I want you to ask the woman, what do you want in a relationship right now? There's no point in wasting her time, wasting your time. If she wants a commitment and you don't, or you're looking for love and she just got divorced, you need to make sure you're on the same page, because then dating is exhausting. You're out with the wrong people so often that you feel exhausted and you feel like you really do need a break. And just for your own comfort and confidence, you want to know what you want and need right now. This is not a forever decision. This is this week, this month, for the next 3 months. This is in my life circumstances right now. This is the dating premise that's good for me. Okay, this is a funny mistake. A lot of us are really repetitive and we have a favorite place to go, or we have a favorite place to go on dates because it's well lit, it's got a nice quiet atmosphere, it's friendly, it's nice. You can't take all your dates to the same place or the same 2 places. First of all, if you're in a small town or small enough where people know each other, the waiter is going to tease you. Is this your flavor in the month? You look familiar, they might say to your date, and she knows she's never been there. There's going to be a lot of things that go wrong with that scenario. And in keeping with the theme of this article, that's going to bore you to tears. I don't care how much you love it. Nobody wants brownies, assuming that's your favorite food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Boring. You need to add some fun to the date. Go to one date to breakfast, one for coffee, one out for a drink, one for appetizers. Just kind of liven it up a little bit. And if you're in a small town, that could be a challenge. So you guys might have to drive a little bit, and you're driving separately, right? Yes, you're driving separately. So the woman feels safe, and so you don't end up with someone you're not comfortable with in your car either. So spice it up. Go to someplace new, interesting, and again, this is not about coming up with some zany first date theme. This is just to liven it up for you so that dating is fun and interesting, and you're not bored getting the same cup of coffee, the same drink every time you're out on a date. Okay, you want to add some intrigue to your date? Yes, you do. You want it to be fun and intriguing. So here's what you need to do before you go. You need to think of some things that are going to liven up the conversation. A lot of the reason you're bored, besides the place, your mentality, it's because of what you're talking about. Sometimes the other person is so nervous. They really can't just get into the flow of conversation. They haven't been on a date or haven't been on many dates, and they're just struggling with, I don't know how to do this. I'm really shy, or I'm nervous, or whatever. This is a foreign activity to me. And of course you are, unusual too. You're a virtual stranger. So come prepared with some questions that are friendly, fun, flirty, playful, that'll just make it feel comfortable. The other person will be able to let their guard down. And if you just have maybe 3 questions, that should be enough, because one of them should lead, just down a path to friendly conversation, banter, and just things that you want to learn and get to know about each other. Remember, the goal of a first date, be friendly and have fun. That is it. That's the whole thing on the agenda. Do I want a second date? So keeping that in mind does keep it light, and it also keeps it in perspective so that you are not freaking out about what this date could mean. It doesn't mean anything except, do I want a second date? Come forward with questions. What's your favorite thing to do on a lazy Sunday? If you were in Paris today, what would you want to do? Top 3 movies. It could be anything, you guys. I've written a blog about it too, so you can check that out and see, 30 different interesting, intriguing topics and, things to talk about on a date. Tip number 5, you do not want to talk about anything heavy on this date. Things kind of naturally come out in conversations, so you might not be able to stop it from starting. Do not bring up an ex. Do not bring up things that are really difficult in your life, or like traumas that have happened. We've all had difficult times. We've all had loss, separation, manipulation, deception. A lot of really heavy things have happened to us, but that's not what you want to talk about on a first date. Remember the goal. The only goal is to decide if you want a second date. And if somebody's talking about all the traumas in their life or all the bad things that happened with their ex, it doesn't really sound like a way to make the decision, because you're going to get sidetracked down this really dark, negative path. So what you want to do, if somebody asks you about your ex, you want to answer, right? Because otherwise you look difficult, mysterious, and like you're withholding information. You're not. You're just trying to have a fun, playful first date. So what you want to do is have prepared a 1 or 2 sentence summary of what happened. My ex and I, were happy for a while, but then, we just got really off track from each other and decided the best thing to do was separate, and now we get along fine. The kids are doing great. That's it. Date 5, date 10, whenever it feels natural, right? Those big, heavy stories, that's what's going to connect you. It's one way to get closer and build intimacy with somebody that you're starting to care about. That's just a little bit further down the road, guys. It doesn't mean you're withholding or you don't want to share. It's just keeping the date in perspective. It's just a first, second, third date. And then if it does get derailed, all you have to do is say your couple sentences and then say, gosh, you mentioned you like skiing. Tell me about some of your favorite places. Change the subject. Don't ask her the question back in return unless, you really want to, because the truth is that could that answer to your question could take the entire rest of the date, and all you learned about was her relationship with her ex. And you don't want to do that. I've said this a couple times already, and it's because it bears repeating. Keep your eye on the ball. Stay in the goal, right? The goal is to have fun, get to know them on a lighter level, and decide if you want a second date. This is not to analyze chemistry because there might not be any. Attraction can grow with time. You know how it is. You've dated other people, and the more you get to know them, the more attractive they are because you're knowing who they are, how they treat you, how you interact, the kind of bond that you're building. That can happen with this too. Don't assume that because there's no chemistry or I want to rip your clothes off, not that you would, I'm just saying, that chemical response. If that's missing, that's okay. You're trying to decide, is this person interesting, fun? Do we have some common interests? That's it. Not, do I want to take him to the next holiday party? Is she somebody I want to have around my children? Is she somebody I want to spend, the rest of my life with? Is she going to be a good long-term partner? What are her finances like? You're not doing any of that for a first few dates. You're going to pick up clues as you go along, but if you don't have fun this first date, if it's really dark and heavy and you don't have chemistry, it's going to be difficult for either one of you to say, I do want a second date. Because who wants to go out after a long day of work with a lot of other things you have going on in your life and then say, let's go out for some really more intense negative conversation. No one's going to do that. Keep it in perspective. That's 6 tips for you on how to have a great time out on a date and address the problem. Maybe you are out with someone boring, but the truth is, if you are consistently having boring dates, the problem is you. Use these 6 tips to brighten it up, have fun. You deserve to have a good time. Do not let it be boring. You are in control of this. If it's a disastrous date and you're drinking coffee, you can say goodbye after a half an hour, 45 minutes. That's perfectly within the realm of acceptability, okay? That's why it's important how you set up the first date. You guys both need to be able to say goodbye at a reasonable time if you want. You don't go to a movie because you can't talk. You don't go out to a 5-star restaurant because then you're locked in for 2-3 hours. You make it casual, light, and fun, just like the topic of conversation would be. Have a great time. If dating is not for you right now, stop doing it. It's not worth your time, and you are wasting hers too, which is really important. Take breaks when you need them, guys. You come back energized. You are back into this, ready to meet someone special. Yeah. You can find me at true-connection.net. I do blogs every Tuesday. I do videos on Thursdays. And then I do a story about my own personal dating journey on Sunday. My funny dating stories? Okay, they're not all funny, but you know what I'm saying. My own candid comments and stories and reflections about my dating life. And then, of course, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Good luck, guys.